Welcome back, movie fans. This is the podcast Sequel Suck, and before we get too in depth in this podcast, we are about to talk about James Gunn's 2025 Superman film. But before you go on, there will be spoilers. So if you have not seen the movie, I know it's been out for like maybe 10 days now. I think Corinne's even saw it before 10 days. Like, when did you see it? On the Tuesday?
We saw the premiere, so the 10th.
Yes. Yeah, so it's been
Yeah.
out for a little while, but I know people haven't all had a chance to see it yet. So
He
do
flies.
know.
He flies, everyone. There, I spelled it for you. He freaking flies.
So
Man,
yeah,
and he
if
flies. It's crazy.
yeah, if you do not want to know any spoilers, any tidbits, please come back to this podcast. Tag it to watch later, and yeah, we'll get straight into it.
By definition alone, they're inferior films. Films. Sequels suck. Sequels suck. Sequels suck. Films.
Welcome back, movie fans. This is Sequels Suck, the podcast all about sequels, prequels, remakes, everything but the original. And this week, we have a Justice gang of friends here to help us. I'm here, Cable's here, Corrine is back, Supergirl herself, and Regan is in the room looking very Clark Kent tonight. Today,
Thank you.
if you can't figure it out, we are chatting James Gunn's 2025 Superman. How's it going, team? We feeling good? We feeling super? We feeling pumped?
Absolutely.
It's fans of the show will know we talked Superman 2 with Corinne and not Regan, and he's never forgiven us for it recently.
Well, I'm here,
So you can
I have
can jump back.
consider to be forgiven.
You can jump back and listen to the episode if you want to hear our thoughts on Superman's past. But this is the new one that has been kicking around for quite a while. There's been talks and rumors of how it's going to go, and then now it's here. I'm pretty excited to get into it with everyone. So I don't really know where to start with this one. Like, it's quite a fresh film. All the usual things about the impact it's had on us is kind of gone. I think the best place to start, like, are we all Superman people to begin with? I mean, it feels silly saying that with Corinne
When one of us is
in the room dressed the way they dress.
the garb, yeah.
But I know from our past chat, Corinne, I know you're a Supergirl person, but you're a Superman person.
Oh well, the journey started with Superman, so I didn't know there was a Supergirl until after Superman. So and Christopher Reeve was where it started, as you know. So yes, I'm definitely a Superman fan.
Can I
Does it- I
ask a
feel-
question?
Mm,
When you say Supergirl, do you mean the Helen Slater film?
yes, yeah. I didn't
We're,
find
we're
out.
going to get along so well because that
Okay.
is I love that movie. I think it's excellent. I don't care what anyone says. If the movie that they're going to make with Millie Alcock is half as good as that, we're in good shape.
I definitely think that film's going to be different to the Helen Slater version. It's a very different Supergirl.
Yeah.
Similar kind of storyline, I think, although they didn't really delve into Supergirl's origin story enough. I think that was the mistake with the Supergirl film, was that they had David Odell, the writer on that film, who did the Dark Crystal,
Oh,
and yeah, he wasn't really prepared to write a female origin story, I don't think. And also the original film was to include Christopher Reeve, and he bowed out at the last minute. So they went through like numerous amounts of script writing to sort of fill all the holes that he left by not being in the film, because it was meant to go on some completely other storyline, and then they had to change everything, and that's why they used a lot of magic in the Supergirl film to sort of, well, you don't need to explain it, it's just magic.
yeah. There's an
Um,
awful lot of magic in that movie. Yeah. Better
but
or worse.
there was lots of plot holes, and man, I took away from it as a kid, like what I needed from it, and I have done as an adult, and I think there's still some pretty relatable things in there for
Oh
me.
yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, I mean, I think I've copped a fair bit of criticism for loving that film because it wasn't a box office success. It only, out of a $33 million budget, brought in 14.
Oh
And I
wow.
don't think people were ready at that time for the first female superhero movie in the 80s, you know, whereas today I think it's a little bit well, I think we're ready for it. You know, we had Wonder
gonna
Woman, which
work,
was
yeah.
fantastic. Admittedly, that's probably one of my favorite from the Snyder series is Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
Because I cried in the open sequence. It was so good. And I was like, yes, finally, like a female origin story that is strong. And I wished for, you know, that to have been what Supergirl's story would be. But I think 1984 Wonder Woman, they got that. They made the mistake that they made with Supergirl at the beginning. So, you know, chasing a guy around the screen, forgetting the mission, having two women fight over a man. Like it was just like, what are you doing? I remember screaming at the television, being like, why? Why did no? So now I'm really excited to see Millie's film, and I'm a little nervous, but yeah, I'm excited.
No one's going to make fun of you for loving Supergirl here. Regan's favorite Superman film is Superman 3. So you're in good
Love
company.
it. I watched it
Everyone
again
loves
recently.
the S and the heroes. You've talked a little bit on other episodes, Regan. You're a big fan of Superman 3, but were you a Superman kid growing up? Was that something you were like, I'm into this
Oh,
shit?
absolutely. I can't remember a time, much like Jaws, where I wasn't cognitive of the Christopher Reeve Superman the movie. That film is still a perfect picture to me. It has been forever. It's just got the best act structure. You can dip in and watch any one of those, and you're getting a different thing. You know what I mean? You get this amazing, Americana Norman Rockwell beginning, and then there's this weird sort of screwball comedy bit, and then it's fighting to save Lois at the end. It's such a beautiful picture. And Christopher Reeve, I mean, like there has never been better casting. That's, no shade to Henry Cavill or the Corenswet. I'd have been straight down to Deepole to change my name if I was sorry. I've been cast as Superman. I need to change my last name to Corn or Sweat, but not both. So yeah, no shade to those two or anyone else on the TV. Maybe Dean Cain because fuck him. But
Oh wow!
yeah, Chris Reeve is definitely like the best vision of what Superman actually, the ideals that he was.
Yeah, we talked briefly on the Superman 2 episode. There's the documentary Super/Man all about Reeve. People should go check out.
You mean Cry the movie?
Yeah.
Yeah, if you
was
do it at
tough.
home with a blanket and some tissues, but definitely. And then Cable is wearing a Batman hat. So
Yeah, well,
how do you feel about Superman,
Contrarian
Cable?
motherfucker.
Were you
Love it.
into him growing up, or were you just like, fuck that guy? Where's the Dark Knight?
no. I mean, like, I've probably said this on this podcast before, but if in superhero order, it's always Spider-Man's always been my favorite, and probably Batman's second. But I think close third is Superman. But also similar to what we've all sort of touched on is like Superman was the first movie I saw as a kid, and very similar to Corrine, like all those movies were on TV or we were taped off TV and rewatched numerous times. And Supergirl was one of the. I reckon I probably did see Supergirl pretty early on as well. So just anything with a cape and a big S was just. And there was a lot of merch out. Well, when I was a kid, there was a lot of Superman merch out at the time too. And
I remember that too.
we had the Justice League cartoon. I remember that as a kid as well. I don't know how old that was at the time, but definitely in the 80s, there was definitely a lot of Superman stuff around. So it's like you couldn't not be a Superman fan.
Well, something I was
Isn't it
thinking
the
about.
most, sorry, Gus, go ahead.
No, you go.
Isn't the Superman S like the second most recognizable symbol in the world after the Star of David?
I
Yeah.
thought it was
Someone
after
used-
Coca-Cola.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Is it right?
Yeah, I think it's
okay,
after
that makes a bit more
Coca-Cola.
sense.
Yep.
Yeah, okay. But
Look how
still,
far
I mean,
we've
that's
fallen.
incredible,
Yeah,
Well, you
it's
think
incredible.
about it, like nearly every person that has got access to a TV or a newspaper or just any sort of. You don't have to like Superman. You don't have to know everything about him, but he'd have to be one of the most recognizable characters of all time.
Absolutely. I think I think more people know. I was reading that more people know like the name Superman than the name Jesus Christ in the world. Like he is, he's this omnipresent character. But the thing that I was thinking about when I watched this movie is like he was a part of my childhood as well. But I never really like sought out Superman. It was just like you absorbed it by osmosis. Like my mum made me a Superman costume because I wanted to be Superman, and I definitely remember watching the Reeve movies. I wasn't as like locked in on them as you guys were at a young age. I came to them a bit later, but you just knew about Superman. And someone I was reading this week made the point, like, everyone's grandmother knows what kryptonite is. Like, this absurd, obscure thing. Like, if you say kryptonite, people are like, oh yeah, the thing that makes Superman sick. My children who have never watched Superman in their life know that kryptonite makes Superman sick. Like, he's such a big part of us. But when I was looking through the history of Superman movies, most Superman movies up until this year suck. The majority of Superman movies are bad. Like, the original is great. 2 is great. I think the Donner cut is better, but you can have that debate. There's 2 versions and 2 films there that you can go back and forth about. 3, it's a personal choice one. It certainly didn't do well at the box office. 4 is all but forgotten to time, and there's a very small group of people who go, no, it's pretty cool. And then you get into the Snyder era, and look, that's a different conversation in a different way, but I just want to put it on record. Man of Steel is one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my entire life. Superman Returns is erased from history because people are like, that was so boring.
So it
like,
was racist, sorry.
It was racist.
I misheard you. I'm like, what do you mean it's racist? Oh, no, he's just erased from history. Okay, right.
Because Superman, yet again, was white. No, he's if ever there's a character who can quite literally never be another ethnicity, I think it's Superman, because immediately everyone's like, wait a second.
Well, actually, Dean Cain was, I think, part Filipino. Yeah, he is actually, or Japanese. I think Japanese. His mother was Japanese. Yeah, look that up. But
All
yeah,
right, Dean Cain.
he has Asian heritage.
Maybe he should shut the fuck up then. You hear me now, Dean? I know that you're trying to jump onto the there's a bit of heat around Superman, and you used to be Superman. And look, I loved Lois and Clark.
Yeah,
I watched the shit out of that show. But it's time to keep it stum. All right, Dean?
Do you want to know another? Do you want to know another interesting fact about the Dean Cain series? Is that Jared Christopher, who played Superboy in the Superboy Salkind series, he actually went for the role of Superman in the Lois and Clark series, and he got it. He got it. And then they found out that he was actually Superboy in the Salkind series, and they gave it to Dean Cain. So they cut him, they sacked him, and gave it to Dean Cain because they didn't want him playing another Superman role.
That would have been perfect, though. That doesn't make any sense.
Well, they cancelled the Superboy series to make way for the Lois and Clark series. So I think the Superboy series ended in like 1993, and then Lois and Clark started filming 94 for 95 or something like that.
Amazing.
That
is the trick there, I reckon.
It's a big miss. But now it's 2025. We've got David Corenswet in the tights. What do we think? Did we enjoy new Superman?
Yes.
Big fun. Big fun. Yeah.
I can't wait to. I feel like Angus, maybe not so much.
Well, no.
He's playing host. He's got to wait and give his
I'm letting you. I will say, like, the first thing I thought of as we're getting ready to record today is like, I don't know if we should even be doing this episode because because this is not a sequel.
That's why I'm here.
This is not a remake.
I want to hear this explanation. That's why I came.
It's not a sequel. It's not a remake. It's not a reimagining. This is just a brand new Superman movie that ignores every other Superman movie that has ever existed in ways that no other Superman movie ever has, down to like the very way that they've interpreted the character and the world that he exists in. This is so far removed from everything except for possibly the Justice League TV series. Like, it is not connected to anything. And I know it's an adaptation of an existing material, but like this, I went into this expecting a bit more nodding, winking to past films, particularly obviously the Christopher Reeve Superman ones, because every other Superman movie has just been like, but hey, what about that guy? And this one just doesn't. This one is like, fuck everything else.
Unless you listen to the score.
Yeah.
But that's really more like, we've learnt from past that if you're going to have Superman, you've got to have John Williams' score.
Yeah, it's too iconic,
Yeah, I completely agree.
It's like you can't have Jaws without the da-da. You can't have Superman without the da-da. It's all da-da.
It's like the second most everyone knows what that theme is,
Yeah.
other than the logo. Like
Yeah.
people know that song. If they don't see the logo, they know the song.
Mm.
They know the theme.
But so is it not a reboot then? It is a
No.
reboot of the character.
It's not a reboot of any existing film property.
Oh,
It's
well,
just
yeah,
another
okay.
Superman movie. In the same way that like we haven't done The Batman on this show because it's not a sequel or a reboot or a remake or anything. It's just a new
We
Batman
can
movie.
still do that though.
We can,
In,
but
in, in
it's
the way that
Yeah.
the Batman's probably cinematically has more DNA that the other ones have. This Superman movie feels like, and I don't know if you guys were reading Superman in the 90s, but this feels like the comics.
Yes. Yeah,
at that
yeah,
time.
yeah.
Like,
this is a four-color movie.
Dan Jurgens, Jerry Orway, kind of, like even the set pieces, like it feels like a different issue, So
Yeah.
there's the fight with the Russian guy who. Are we spoilers? Doing spoilers?
Yeah,
Oh
yeah,
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 we've
I'll-
already put it up. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
who ends up being Ultraman, and then you've got the he goes back to the Fortress of Solitude. Then you've got the monster fight, and they're all Lex's machinations, but they're all issues of the book. And then there's the time in the fucking negative zone, or whatever you want to call that, and he's trapped. And I came out of it, and more than anything, and I'm not talking about in terms of quality, but just in terms of tone, it reminded me of fucking Sky High.
Yeah,
Do you know
I
what-
see that.
Sky High?
Yeah. The
It's a
Kurt
great,
Russell
it's a
one.
great superhero picture. It's really, really good.
Yeah, it's fun.
But it's got that four-tone color, that big action. And look, I think this is some of the best computer graphics I've ever seen.
All right, I'm just gonna have to ask you to just sit the fuck down for a second right now and
Come
think
on,
about
man,
what you're saying.
There's some seamless shit going on there. Like from
Are you talking about?
going from-
Hang on. Are you talking about the seamless shit where they go through a tunnel into a fucking cutscene from Minecraft?
I'm talking about the stuff where they're interacting with fake elements in a fake environment, and then all of a sudden it goes from a CG model mock-up of Superman to a close-up of David Corenswet's face, and you can't see the stitching. That's what I'm talking about. I can't see where it started as CG and then becomes an actual live-action shot. And for me as a technician, that's really impressive.
All right. So can you tell me what went wrong with the Pocket Universe?
What I think went wrong with it, or
Yeah. Explain to me, a layman, why it looks like that.
I feel like it has a lot to do with the sort of the DC of that period as well. I'm thinking kind of like New Gods, Jack Kirby style sort of stuff with the bright colors, the sharp edges, that sort of blocky feel. I think that's Gunn sort of tipping his hat to the cosmic side of the DC universe, which they're going to introduce with Supergirl anyway. I don't know why you have a problem with that, the aesthetic of it, but
Because it looks like shit. It
Okay.
looks like absolute dog shit. Every time they're in the Pocket Universe, I was like, okay, well, you tried your best and you're doing a great job, but I guess
I was too enamored with this super guy trying to find his fucking dog to worry about what it looked like. I was like, I hope he finds him and
When
save
they're in
that
the-
alien baby.
when they were in the glass cages from Cabin in the Woods for a bit, I was like, okay, great. Like, I'm back. That's good. Like, a crossover I didn't know we were getting this year, and I was very excited about it.
Good
And
pull, by
then
the way.
when he was in the river of cubes, I was like, what are we doing? Why is Superman fighting a river of cubes? Why we've got like less than 2 hours, guys. What are we doing in this fucking river? You've got decades of storytelling you could pull from. You've got someone who is a brilliant writer and a brilliant filmmaker at the helm. And he's like, I know what we're going to do. A river of cubes. That'll really ratchet up the tension.
It's a river of cubes.
With a
Sorry,
character
Ghostbusters 2
who,
reference.
at no point in the history of anything, is ever in any real danger. And so that's my problem. I enjoyed this movie, and I'm leading with the negative. I enjoyed this movie. I thought it was great. I walked out of there going, at no point was there any stakes in this film whatsoever. No one was in peril. No one was going to die that was of any significance. The one person they killed was the falafel guy. Like, nothing was
They shot him in
nothing.
the fucking head though. That was pretty
Great
brutal.
scene. Really great scene. But nothing was at risk. Not even the dog was at risk. Like, when he's like, where's the dog? I'm like, the dog is fine. They're not killing Crypto. Obviously, they're not killing Crypto. And like, Mr. Terrific was the only one who was, when I went in, who was on the bubble. I was like, they might kill Mr. Terrific. That'd be a bad move, but they might do it because he's the least known character.
And he's black.
And that is the other theory. So it's like, it'd be a horrible fucking thing the first time you bring in a black guy. And then 20 minutes into the movie, I'm like, you're absolutely not killing Mr. Terrific.
Yeah.
In fact, you're not killing anyone. you're not even gonna kill like the goons because they're like, oh yeah, they've got the super suits, so they're super strong. Like, okay, so when Superman punches them and lasers them, he's just gonna break the suits and not kill them. We're not killing anyone. Cool, that's great. I really appreciate the world you're building here, James Gunn, and I like the direction you've taken it. But I don't care about imaginary countries, so that whole storyline meant nothing. And I know no one's gonna die. So what am I watching? Where's the stakes? Where's the peril? Where's the concern? And so at the end, when everything's fine, I was like, yes. And that is, I think, the fundamental problem with Superman. And it's the reason a lot of Superman movies struggle because what do you do with a guy who is invincible? Like, you have to make the character cool. And they did. This version of Superman is my favorite since Reeve and is up there, like, not far behind in terms of how much I want to rewatch that character do cool stuff. And I want to see Corenswet play this character for like 20 years. Bring it on. He's friggin' awesome. But
Yeah, he's really good. Yeah,
I don't think they got over the hurdle
a
of
lot of charisma.
you can't make Superman really have like any real stakes unless you are willing to do something really extreme. Like,
Oh, sorry.
oh, Cable didn't like that.
He's bouncing. Yeah, no, you can actually. All you have to do is split him in half and make one of them evil.
There you go.
And then
See,
it's perfect.
then we're back to the perfect Superman version. So I don't know. Obviously, like I'm not as high on it as you guys. I really did enjoy it. But did you guys? Is any of this resonating, or are you just like, what the fuck are you talking about? This is fun. Shut up.
Yeah, no, I got tons of problems with it. Absolutely, but it was because it was doing something that I haven't seen, and it was just a big, joyful, colourful adventure. And I mean, the thing for me that was the most negative thing, and I got over it really quickly, is that everybody just keeps talking about what the movie's about.
Got so much exposition.
But that's what a comic does. A comic
well, true.
over-explains
Absolutely.
things all the time.
Absolutely.
In the dialogue boxes, and I was like, James Gunn's just written a comic and then done it for real,
And that element of it is perfect. I love that approach,
the
and I
tone
think you
works
nailed
really well,
it.
which is the thing that I was skeptical about the most. I remember talking on my show, the Filmmakers Podcast, about it when they announced it. I'm like, I don't know if he fits the material, and he totally made it work.
Well, I love that he really went for that Superman equals hope.
Yeah, and for me, the key line, and then I'm really interested to hear what you guys have to say about it as well. Is that you think everything and everyone is beautiful, and he goes, well, maybe that is punk rock, and that's what I thought a few minutes before. I'm like, oh, this is punk rock Superman, and then he fucking said it. I'm like, oh, okay, and I let everything go after that. I was like, whatever this is from now on, Strange Cube River and all, I was in,
Was it all sunshine and rainbows for you, Corinne? Was there any part of it that you were like, I'm not quite sure about this direction?
No, well, I was going into it hoping for lots of bright colors, fun, comedy, romance, a little bit of drama, a lot of action. I wasn't going into it expecting it to be, like I was expecting it to be fantastical, I suppose. And, it's kind of like, yes, people are on their way to work and Superman's just casually fighting a monster over in the corner because that's what comic books are like, and this is the world that they live in. It's not our world, it's that world. And I think when I was, going to see that film, I left my jaded, cynical adult self at home and packed my younger child self, and I looked at it through the lens of my inner child versus, the adult that sits there and go, well, it's not this and it's not that and it should be this and why is he doing that over there? And it's like, just let it go and enjoy for the moment of what it is. So I feel like it ticked all the boxes. I felt like the romance between Lois and Clark was good and it was enough. It wasn't too little like Man of Steel, where it was just like what's going on between these two? Are they like platonic or what? There's just no tension, there was no romance, there was no nothing. So I felt like there was more than enough of that. I liked the comedy, it was not too much that it got silly, but it's meant, I've always seen Superman films, they're meant to be bright, they're meant to be colourful, they're meant to sort of, take your imagination on a bit of a journey. And I guess with the graphics now that we have versus, we had lots of limitations with the Christopher Reeve films. So I feel like that was more poetic Whereas this now, because of the CGI and the things they can do, it can be more fantastical, which is,
Absolutely. Yeah.
you know, something we didn't get to experience back then. And this is the thing about comparing all the Superman films, is they just all sit in a like Superman genre of their own. And this delivered exactly what my expectations were for a comic book Superman film. Because my opinion is that when you go to the movies, you want to go and you want to be entertained for 2 hours, and you don't want to think about like what's happening outside that cinema door for two hours. I want to be entertained. I want to have fun. I want my imagination to go wild. I want to be in a place that's not where I am right now, because the world, as we know, can be quite dark and bitter at the moment, and the whole point of Superman is to provide hope. You're supposed to leave the cinema after seeing a Superman film feeling a little bit taller, a little bit more hopeful, and wanting to leave, maybe wanting to thinking that you as an individual can make the world a better place.
Yeah.
And that collectively, if we all found that in a hero within ourselves, we'd do it on a everyday level. Do you know what I mean? Just, being a little bit more polite to someone, having a little bit more compassion, making a little few more jokes, not taking things too seriously, being respectful, all the sort of things that Superman sort of stands for, with or without the suit. And I feel, some criticisms that I've heard is that, I didn't see enough of Superman. But it's like, he is Superman. The Superman is the suit that he wears, but you got to know who Clark or Kal-El is. And you see that divide between Clark is the character that he plays around the people who don't know he's Superman. He's like Kal-El when he's with Lois in the relationship, and Superman is the suit that he puts on to the public to be the hero so that he can have another life away from being Superman, if that makes sense. So I
Absolutely.
feel like it nailed all of that.
Yes, I think you're right. My complaint wasn't that there wasn't enough Superman. I was, and it's not even a complaint, but I was stunned at how little Clark there was in this. Like, he's barely Clark Kent in this movie. I think he wears the glasses
Just
in
the
one
beginning,
scene.
yeah.
And then the rest of the movie, he's either Kal-El or he's Superman, but Clark Kent is hardly in it. It's not a positive or a negative, but I did find personally, I was left wanting for more of that, because those were some of my favorite bits of the Christopher Reeve Superman, is when he's being Clark Kent, watching him play that character is like, this is amazing. And reading in the interviews, Corenswet was like, one of the things that made me so excited about this movie is not playing Superman, it's playing Clark Kent. I'm like, sick, we're going to get some great Clark stuff. I think he's really just not. This is almost like an all-in-one day movie, which was also quite interesting. Like, he puts on the suit and he's like, I've got no time to change. I've got stuff to do, and we're off and we're racing.
Yeah, I feel like there's three versions of himself he played in that film, which is Clark, the Clark at home, the Kal-El, with Lois. That's the one I think we see the most.
Yes, yeah,
And then
Interviews
far.
and stuff.
Yeah, and then Superman.
Were you on board with all this as well, Cable? You've been
Well, I
quiet
was
for
just going to
quite a
say,
while.
Corrine kind of nailed this podcast. I feel like she just be directed Michael Bay, and we just can't.
Yeah, that's actually. I was thinking exactly the same thing. I was like, it's not going to get any better than that.
All right, well, remember to like and subscribe. Thanks for joining us, guys. It's been great.
Mercy come and wash away what I've done. I'll face myself to cross out what I've become.
So I guess with superhero movies, I was sort of getting to that point where we saw Batman Begins, and I was really loving, superheroes being in this real world that we kind of live in, and having them be a bit more realistic, not, as Corinne would say, fantastical, and just having this massive, vibrant universe. But then this come along, and it kind of did blow me away, because, like we've already touched on, it did feel like I was just dropped into the comic book. Like, in so much as, like, we're so used to a lot of these superhero movies when they are rebooted or restarted, we get the origin story. No, none of that. We just get cut straight to the chase, like as if we've already been here before. Like, we've just picked up a bit, almost not quite like episode 4 A New Hope, but it did feel a bit like Star Wars. You just dropped in, you get a little bit of a idea of where you are in the story, and then you don't get the full story. You just watch that episode and that's it. And this is kind of what that felt like. It was like when I was a kid going to the comic book store and getting an issue of whether it's Superman or Spider-Man, and you missed issue 1 of the story arc. You got issue 2. And then you're reading that, you're going, I kind of don't know what happened in the last one. You get a little bit of a recap, but you just, and like you guys, touched on before we came back, and then I just read that comic all the time. Like those comics got reread and reread and reread. And it's like, oh, there's like a 5 or 6 issue arc. I'm missing 1 or 2 of them, so I've got to plug in the pieces, but it's like you just jump into that universe. And this movie felt like that. It felt like, well, you know Superman. You already know it. You've already got, again, going back to the start of the podcast, everyone kind of knows what Superman is. Okay, you might not know every little detail, but we know he can fly. Kryptonite is his weakness. Just let's get into the movie and introduce, we don't have to introduce everyone. We know them, enjoy the ride.
I think
the end
a
of
great
fight.
idea.
Yeah.
Yes.
And all of a sudden, it's already happened. You're in. It's just the jump off has jumped off, and we're just going to enjoy whatever that is now. Yeah.
And I do like that he kind of solved what I was talking about before. That thing, like, how do you make stakes really occur when it's Superman? He does sort of solve that in the beginning of the movie because it's like, well, Superman just lost his first fight, so he's fallible. He's not like the ultimate invincible guy. And that definitely does carry on throughout this in a way that I really appreciate. Like Superman gets his ass kicked a lot in this movie. Like a hell of a lot, and it is good. Like it makes it way more interesting when you're like, hey, he's going to get the living crap beat out of him, and he's got to figure out a way to come back against this. 99% of the time, I think they nailed that. There are a couple of moments where I was like, what? Like when he's getting attacked by all the super soldier guys with all their suits, and he's fighting them, and it's like he's getting the crap beat out, and he's fighting back and getting the crap, and then he just remembers he has laser eyes and just 360 laser eyes them all. I'm like, did you forget, bro? Like, this fight's been going on a minute. You could have done that from the start.
Maybe he's got to build it up.
Yeah.
Like a pump.
Maybe that's it. But look, that's
charge
tiny little nitpicks because, like I said before, I freaking love the way they've gone with this character. And I love the way Corenswet's playing him. And you're definitely like, you're reshaping my opinion on the other bits that are a bit niggly to me because it is definitely, you're in a comic book, you're in a Saturday morning cartoon, and it is hitting all of those things that really you want from a Superman, which is that this is a magical world, this is a hopeful place, this is a wonderful place. Something that has stuck with me, and I don't see it as a negative or positive, but it definitely took me out of the movie. Is you're talking, Corinne, about how you want to like forget the world outside for 2 hours when you watch a Superman movie. Slapping the Israel-Palestine conflict in the middle of this movie really made it hard to forget the real world, and actually kind of bummed me out because I was like, oh, Superman's not going to help those kids in Gaza, is he? Oh, now I just feel bad. And then I laugh my ass off because Superman doesn't help the kids in this movie either. The whole movie, they're all like, Superman will come soon, and they build a flag and they hold up the flag and they're like, he's coming, I swear he's coming, and then he doesn't. Guy Gardner rocks up and he's like, he's busy, and then Guy Gardner saves the day.
I love it.
Yeah.
I laughed my ass off of that. I was like, that is amazing that they built this whole thing up and then Superman literally doesn't show. These kids have got their little flag and he just never goes. So good.
Billion's he's such a balm in this. Like, I mean, the dude is like hands down one of the best nerd actors of all time. And he's played Hal Jordan, done the vocals for Hal Jordan for years. But to stick him in as Guy and have him have that attitude, it was just where she tells him that his hair should be against his values, and he's like, "My what should be what?" Like it's it's classic, like angry Mal from Firefly. He was a beautiful.
It's also
salve
like
to the series
comic accurate. You know? It's such a great thing to see. Like, they
They're
took
like, fucking give him the bowl cut. Why not?
Yeah, they took the jerk Green Lantern and threw him in a live action movie. It was like, no, this guy, there's nothing redeemable about his attitude. He just happens to be really good at this.
He's a massive dick. Yeah.
Yes, and no one likes him.
The thing that also struck me I can't say this about all of the filmmakers who have gone on, writers or directors who've gone on to make comic book movies in the last, let's say, 10 years. have been super fans. Fucking Gunn is.
Oh yeah,
He
Gets
loves
it.
the material. Like he is so dedicated to upholding the values of not only the character but of the way that we see the character, because each comic book that you see is not going to be the same interpretation of the character. I was just talking about John Byrne before. Like John Byrne's idea when he rebooted Superman for the Crisis Event was that he used telekinetics to shoot himself around, and he couldn't. It wasn't powered to flight. It was that he had mind control powers. So there's all these different interpretations. He is gone for the pure like action adventure one, which we haven't seen before ever. It was like Corrine was saying before. Christopher Reeve Superman. It is a painting. It is so romantic in its not only portrayal of Superman the character, but just the world that he inhabits. This is like from a fan for the fans, and that struck me almost immediately.
Yeah, I didn't want another origin story. It takes up
no.
already an hour of the film, and we already have to wait for another sequel for another couple of years.
Apparently
So,
not that long. So
yeah,
Gunn has
just
said we're getting him soon.
okay, yeah. Well, I'm like,
Not
no,
next week.
I don't need to know the story all over again. I don't need it to be retold. It's been retold 3 times, 4 times, 5 times already. If you don't know the origin stories roughly, then you're not a Superman fan, and you probably wouldn't go to see that film, I
Yeah.
don't
Why
think.
would you go and see it at all? Yeah, exactly.
You know
Yeah.
what was really nice, like talking about no origin story in this one, is they also made the lovely decision, like fucking Jonathan Kent made it through a Superman movie. How nice was that?
Yeah.
I know, yeah.
Just let the man fucking be for a bit. You know you're going to kill him eventually, but it
Yeah,
was
but I
nice that
feel
he was
this is going to
still
sound
there.
it's going to sound horrible, but that actor, I'm sorry, he just gives me Harvey Weinstein vibes. He looks too much like him, and probably
You're the third
Lamb.
person I know to say that it was poor casting.
Yeah.
Oh really?
Oh no,
I
no,
loved
no!
it. I thought
Look,
he
I don't
was
have an
great.
issue with the actor. I just think he's got a very his face just. I think Harvey Weinstein every time I see him, and Harvey's probably not in good shape either. So I just it's unfortunate. He's just a bit of a sort of a doppelganger that I just can't.
He's the dude. He's the priest in Constantine.
Yeah, well, he's
Righto.
in a lot of stuff. Pruitt Taylor Vince is the guy
Yeah.
we're talking
A
about.
great actor. Yeah.
And you know him from some. I knew him from Identity. You remember that John Cusack movie
Yes,
from like
yes.
2003?
He's the one who's all the identities
It's spoilers, but yes.
for a movie that's like 15 years old.
Yeah,
No,
absolutely.
more.
But he's
20
like
about
he's
20
a
years
character
old.
actor who's been
Yeah.
in a bunch of stuff that like he pops up in TV a lot. Like he's done Stranger
Yeah.
Things, Agents of Shield, Blacklist, all those kind of things. But he pops up in movies a lot and in the sort of smaller character roles. I think he's been market corrected a little bit by what's his name? Carol something. He's the guy from Zodiac who they think is the
Yes,
Zodiac killer,
yeah,
who's also
yeah,
Drew
yeah.
Carey's
Very similar,
brother.
yeah.
Carol Lynch.
That actor, they have a similar vibe, and I think he's taken a bit more of those
He's eating
kind
his
of
lunch. Yeah.
yeah, those frumpy balding guys who you're like, why isn't this guy work more? It's like because they can get another guy who is already a bit more famous. John Carroll Lynch is who I'm thinking
John
of.
Carroll Lynch. Yeah.
But-
Can I ask a question about just because while we're on parents, what did everybody think about the adjustment to Jor-El and
Ooh,
Lara
that was-
Zor-El's
It's a great question.
go down there and fucking rule them because you'll be able to tear them in half like a phone book. Like, if considering that Gunn has come out and said, that's for real. They sent him there, to rule over them. That's what's happening. Like I thought, that's got to be a lie. There's got to be something going on there that we'll find out about down the road. And he's like, no, they're super beings who sent their Subi Sung to rule over a lesser group of individuals. What did everybody think about that?
I think it was an interesting swing, and I kind of am reserving judgment on it because they didn't do enough with it. And it's part of the problem when you're doing an all-in-one day movie is like there's not a lot of opportunity for growth arc development. You get what you get, and then you have a mini journey, and they try to put Clark through the mini journey of like, I'm not who I thought I was, but he kind of doesn't have time to really live in that like moment. I would have much preferred if they were going to take that swing.
I
to
have
make it drag out.
I have a confession. So I didn't know that Bradley Cooper was playing Jor-El. I thought it was Cillian Murphy. So when
Oh.
it's
Ah.
revealed that it's Bradley Cooper, I'm like, no, no, no.
Where did
I
you
was
hear it
just-
was going to be Cillian Murphy?
No, no, I don't know whether I read it somewhere or I saw it on some obscure website or I saw it on YouTube or something like that. But just in my head, I was expecting to see Cillian Murphy as Jor-El,
Oh, yeah.
and then it's Bradley Cooper. And I'm like, oh, no.
Well,
You know what got me when they showed the parents and it was Bradley Cooper? I was like, oh, it's Bradley Cooper and Lady Gaga. What like a funny little reunion. And then I
Yeah,
kept
well,
looking, I was like,
That's
Yeah.
that's not Lady Gaga.
Yeah.
Lady
That's
Gaga.
and then I got really distracted because it's like, why have you put very,
Yeah.
very, very famous Bradley Cooper
Yes.
to a relatively unknown actor, but
Yeah.
you've done it like they're both there on a cameo. So every time they're on screen, I'm like, what am I missing? Who are
Yeah.
you and why don't I recognize
Well,
you?
they're,
And then I
they're
wasn't really
Guardians of the
listening.
Galaxy alum.
Is she?
Yeah,
she is,
that's
yeah.
it.
Oh,
Yeah, that's
okay.
it.
I think
Yeah.
she was one of the gold people in the second
Oh.
one or the third one. I can't remember. Which
I haven't
one
seen
it
the
is.
third one
It took
yet.
me a second though because it was probably a few days later that because I was like, "What the fuck is Bradley Cooper doing in a Superman picture?"
Ah,
And then
yeah,
a few days
the
later, I'm
Rocket,
like, "Oh,
yeah.
yeah, he played the Rocket." Yeah.
Well, because they're all in there. Because Pom Clenteef is one of the robot voices. Who else is
Oh,
one
yeah,
of the?
so it's,
I mean, Alan Tudyk is, but he
yeah.
wasn't one of the big parts of it. But he got all of his mates.
It's friends. Yeah.
Tiny part. I mean, Sean pops up as Maxwell Lord at the end, obviously setting his brother up to
your main man in the blue guy in Guardians.
Rooker, Michael Rooker.
Michael Rooker. Yeah,
He's another one of the robots. Yeah, so he got all of his mates from Marvel, new gig.
Yeah.
He's like, hey, I'm building a new house. It looks like your one's fallen over. You want to come live here? And they're
Yeah,
like,
the
yes,
pendulum's
please. We're
swinging
jumping
the other
ship.
way now. Yeah.
Well, I have seen a lot of people now who are posting like, I mean, the Batman, pretty much everyone liked it, and people are like the Batman was a pretty cool version of Batman. Superman, pretty much everyone is like, I like it, and everyone's like, it might have to change allegiances here. It's been a minute since we've loved anything that's come out of
all
that
right,
other
just-
studio.
I mean, that's totally fine to feel that way, but do the numbers on it. Just everyone needs to calm the fuck down first and realize that Marvel was banging that drum all by themselves for 10 years before anyone did anything. While
Absolutely,
Zack
but I
Snyder
can-
was scrumbling around trying to make Dark Side happen.
I can see a very clear path from what Gunn's done here for the next 10 years to just be DC just curb stomping all over. But there's already reports coming out like they've started filming Doomsday and there's no third act. And they're like, well, we just got to start filming because this is the schedule. Like Marvel has fallen a bit into the hole that DC fell in when they were trying to do their DCEU. We're like, we've got to get these movies out. We've got to catch up. We've got to go. We're doing Justice League. We're doing Aquaman. We're doing Flash. We're doing all of it. And like none of this stuff is there. Like you're forcing it on us, and we're all aware of it. And now Marvel is like Phase 5, Phase 6, Phase 7. They're all ready, baby. Let's go. And it's like, but are they ready? Are they there? Because the last couple of movies have felt like they weren't there, and you just had to get them out. And the TV series, a couple of those TV series felt like they weren't there, but you had to get them out. And now they're filming their big return to form, the thing that's being sold as the one that's like, hey, remember how good Endgame was? Well, Robert Downey Jr. is back. We're doing it again. And they're like, cool, what's the story? We'll figure that out later. Let's go. Hey, come on, let's do it, guys.
He's Doom, and it's all good. It's all good. I think the thing that's got me most interested, and again, I'll reserve judgment until it comes. The same way that I did with this, I was like, I don't know what it's going to be. I'll figure it out when I get there. And I was kind of wrong as well. It did do great business, but the two things that have got me is one, Gunn says that, and he, of course, he would because he's a writer at heart. They're not going to greenlight anything until the script is done. Until
And I believe it.
Smart.
Yeah.
and that's the move. And the other thing is, he said there is no house style. Like we're going to have Superman is big comic book adventure. Clayface is going to be a straight up horror picture. Green Lanterns is going to be a cop show, like a procedural. Like, and he's like, they're talking to the director of Supergirl, and he's like, hey man, so what are we doing here DNA wise? He's like, oh no, just do you. Like just go and put your stamp on it. And each movie is going to be like the comics. Like you don't pick up a Superman comic and pick up a Swamp Thing comic and they're the same tonally,
Yeah.
or the same
Yes.
aesthetically. Like it's going to be really good. James Mangold's doing fucking Swamp Thing. Like it's going to be, it's going to be
Which is
excellent.
insane. It's insane that that's happening.
Just to have those the understanding that all of these things can exist in the same world, the same way the comics do, but can feel so different, and avoid a house style. It makes me really okay. So this is what Superman looks like. Excellent. I wonder what something else is going to look like. It's going to be something even better.
I think this is the mistake that Snyder made, is that they did Dark Knight and then they tried to put, they basically took the blue lens from Dark Knight and put it all over Superman, and it became a serious tone film, and the character of Superman felt serious. And I guess we'll get to it, but I feel like Henry Cavill, if we want to talk about comparing Superman, he had it easier because the tone was already serious. The suit was very serious. So most of the work was done for him. And there was not a lot of difference between him and his Clark Kent. It was just basically Superman with glasses on. He didn't play them too different. But also, he didn't have the trunks. And I feel
It makes a
like,
difference.
yeah, it does, because, and then, we can't compare like Corenswet with Man of Steel, because the tone, the type of the Superman's character was completely different. People died in those films, and Henry Cavill's Superman was quite narcissistic and a bit jaded from his upbringing, and was a bit careless and thoughtless. He was more about his ego than he was about thinking about others. Whereas, that's the one thing Gunn's done from the Christopher Reeve films, is brought that back to the element of the Superman films, of like, he's not selfish, he's considerate, he's compassionate. He tries to make sure that whenever he's fighting a battle, he's not getting civilians in the way.
He saves a
Whereas,
squirrel.
yeah, that's it. Like, he
Fucking
doesn't.
loved it. I cheered.
Yeah, he
best.
tries not to have any collateral damage. But the trunks, I feel like, is an important thing to talk about, because it's always been hot debated that it's jerky and losery and we don't want them back, sort of thing. So they left them out almost to the last minute, and David was like, no, I want to play the trunks. And I think that speaks volumes about him as an actor, because everyone keeps saying, right, Christopher Reeve is the pinnacle Superman. Everyone will always be compared to him. We've done it already tonight, but like, when you put those two Supermen together, like, I feel like Christopher Reeve had it even harder, because he's in a full spandex suit, and there's no special print, or it's not a special suit for him to fight in. It's literally a Lycra suit. And then Corenswet is like got a special suit that he wears to be Superman. I think that's why it's a little ill-fitting. But the trunks is like, right, you have to balance this character. It's down to you, of like, if you play this, if you don't play him straight, if you don't play him straight enough, he'll be ridiculed. It's so easy to ridicule him with his trunks on the outside of his pants, right? And that was, I guess, where you can compare David to Chris, because both of them had the difficult time of getting you to believe that a man in a suit with trunks on can fly. And that is what, Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster, conceptualized Superman. He had the trunks on.
He's supposed
so
to be like a circus strongman kind of look.
Yeah, that's it. And so I feel like David was like, he had a lot of faith in himself to make us believe in this Superman by choosing to wear the trunks again. Whereas I think Henry Cavill had it real safe by not putting them on and having a really serious suit. The hard work was really done for him. And I think, when we draw, comparisons recently, anyway, I don't know if you've seen this, but David and Chris both went to Juilliard. They were both Juilliard students. They both learned how to fly. They both knew how to play piano. They both had their first sons. filming the first Superman. Like, there's lots of comparisons between them that way, and I think even the way they're interviewed, how they speak is very similar. But yeah, I think that the trunks are an important demonstration of, I think, Corenswet is a stronger actor than maybe Henry in playing Superman. I would have liked to have seen maybe Henry put the trunks on and then see what he would have done. You know, he would have had to work harder. He would have had to work harder to put
Hmm.
those trunks on.
Well, Corenswet's
You know,
argument for wearing the trunks was that he said, yes, they look a bit goofy, but maybe that's the point. Like maybe Superman wants to look a bit goofy because he's going to be out there punching monsters and stopping buildings falling over, but he also still wants kids to approach him and be like, "Hey, Superman, high five!" Or can you help me get my cat? Like he doesn't want to look like he's in the military. He wants to look like he's approachable to kids and someone that you can feel comfortable being going and be like, "Hey, look, it's Superman." He doesn't want to make people feel nervous, and by making himself look goofy, he makes people feel more relaxed, and he is confident enough as Superman that I can look a bit goofy because also I can shoot fucking lasers out of my face.
And
So
maybe he
Yeah,
just
it's
wants
funny.
really that worried.
Or maybe he just wants a second layer too, just in case.
as a co-
Melbourne
as,
winters, man. Like it's cold out there for a pin.
Where else
but
is he gonna put his phone,
color's important too, though, because as a cosplayer, I've got multiple different suits. The ones where I am approached the most is when I wear my most brightly colored screen accurate suit. The kids will come straight for me where I'm wearing that. Whereas when I wear the Melissa Benoist costume, not so much. It's dull. It's, more leather and like dark blue, and it's just, less approachable, I suppose. Whereas there's a different reaction to a brightly colored suit. And I think that's the same thing with Cavill, is it's like, already I feel this serious tone about this person. Kids would be less likely to approach him because of the color of the suit versus the comical full nature of David's suit and tone is approachable for children.
Well, it's interesting because one of the things that's been circling around that won't go away at the moment about the future of this version of the DCU is, who's doing what's going where, and everyone's talking about how, there's the DC Elseworld stuff. So the Batman isn't in the same universe as Superman, but there's rumors that like, well, eventually you're going to have those two characters together. Like, what if you did bring this Robert Pattinson Batman and this Superman together? And could that work? And that's a possibility. And people are like, yeah, maybe. But also, what about if you just make Henry Cavill Batman? Wouldn't that be fucking dope? And James Gunn just isn't doing anything to make that rumor go away, which means at the very, very bare minimum, he's not completely opposed to the idea. I'm not saying there's a chance it happen, but that's a fire that could spread. And I think that would be amazing because I think all of the things that he's doing in Man of Steel, I think Cavill is amazing. I think he's a great choice as a Superman.
Yeah,
I think he was just given a bad script and not the right fit of a director for that particular
Definitely.
thing. But I
Definitely.
think if you want to keep him around and let him do some cool shit and also do something kind of fun, let's get him back in the fold. That'd be great.
I think he would have been a better Lobo than having.
I mean, that would have been the move, but that ship has sailed.
Yeah.
But yeah, that would have been a great move. It's just that Jason Momoa looks like Lobo in real life, so like, well, this is easy.
Yeah.
This is really easy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How have we not spoken about crypto?
I know. You beat me to it. Actually, I was like, can we talk about the feather dog? Because I mean, it was just the best.
Yes. I was skeptical. I mean, Corinne was talking about earlier about seeing all the trailers and stuff. I tried to stay away from as much stuff because I kind of wanted to go in a bit blind. And the one thing I did see was that trailer, sort of that first one where he's obviously injured, which is the start of the movie, and Crypto taking him back to the Fortress of Solitude. And I was like, oh, I don't know. And I'm like, oh, is this going to be too much of a kids movie because it's in it? My kids had seen, what was the Super Pets movie that came out a couple of years ago? And I think The Rock.
Super Pets.
It actually is called Super Pets. Okay.
It's called DC Super Pets, yeah.
Yeah, and I was kind of like, oh, are they doing that? And I'm like, oh, I don't know. I don't know if I love this idea. But yes, it was, I thought, personally, a great addition to the movie.
I loved it.
Yeah,
It's having a pet friend, like an animal friend. I don't like using the word pets because it denotes ownership. but I would kick down the door of a billionaire for any of my cats, and go to another dimension that looks like shit, Gus, and do whatever I had to, because there is something primitive about the relationship that we have to animals, and they're our strongest link to the natural world, and I think it's beautiful to have, and saving the squirrel, like, he has a relationship with the natural world that the previous Supermans didn't even hint at. You know what I mean? And yeah, so to have an actual dog, and then to have the dog being on the fights as well, like kicking the shit out of Lex at the end of it. I mean, come on, how can you not just cheer for that?
I love that, but I love that scene so much. But as it happened, I'm like, this is Hulk with Loki in Avengers. This is like the bad guy's monologuing, and then he just gets fucking turfed and slammed. And it's almost frame for frame. I'm like, this is so cool. I wish I wasn't thinking of another movie when you're doing this, because I really love it so much. It's hilarious. Yeah. I love Crypto. I love that they made all the things you talked about. It's his connections to the natural world, and he's such a lovely guy. It's not even his friggin' dog, and he doesn't like it. Like, he says multiple times, "Not my dog. He's not a good dog."
Yeah, it's a foster situation.
I don't like. Yeah,
and then
but
drunk
still,
Supergirl turns up.
He's going to alternate dimensions to rescue this dog that isn't his dog, that he doesn't like that much. That just makes his life more difficult, which is good. I did find myself getting a little fatigued with the amount of cartoon characters when in a live action movie. Like when you've got Crypto, and then you're fighting that giant like monster thing that grew overnight. Which I love all of them, but the animation was very clearly done to make it look not quite real. And I was like, I know it would be really hard, and I know a lot of what you did couldn't be done, and you'd have to find ways around it. I wish it was a real fucking dog. I wish you just got a real fucking dog in a cape. Like, I know you made a real human man fly, so I know you can make a real dog fly. Yeah. I know it's just harder.
I'll let Corrine go, because I think I know what Corine's going to say about the dog.
I actually, if I'm honest, I found the dog starting to get annoying, and then started to overshadow the performance of Superman. And look, the dog was actually modelled off James Gunn's dog, and I have to say it, but this is where, like, I think James Gunn's ego grates on me a bit, where it's like, I know it's your dog, and I know you want your dog to be, a star in the movie, but this isn't about your dog. This is about Superman, and the dog's getting annoying now. Like, it was cute, but now it's getting annoying because it's overshadowing the performance, and I have a dog. She's, you say about the natural world, she's tucked up in bed. I think she's more human than I am. I think I am the animal one.
You might
right?
be. It might be the case.
But yeah, I just felt like after a while the dog got annoying, and I don't know, maybe it's just my brain. I'm funny with like ASMR, like I can't stand certain noises and things like that, but it got to me after a while, and I'm like, can you just get rid of the dog?
What was the noise that it was making that was grating you?
No, I'm just saying, like, certain noises I can't stand.
Right, okay, yeah, sure.
That really like itch my brain, and the dog was starting to like itch my brain after a while of like, feels antagonistic or whatever, So but
should have been a Labrador too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't, and plus, like, from memory, I thought Crypto was actually meant to be helpful in the comic books, not a nuisance, and I guess it didn't help that it wasn't, we didn't find out towards the end about the foster situation, but I just thought, no, James, like, this is becoming too much about what you think and what you want for your dog. Like, it's cute and all, but it needs to take a bit more of a backseat in the story.
I'm pretty sure that the reason
stuff too, so.
And his brother and his mates.
Yeah, he puts his wife and his mates and his brother in a lot of shit. So yeah.
I'm pretty sure the reason that Crypto is not a very good dog in this movie is that we are going to see an arc of Crypto over the next 4 or 5 movies where, there's going to come a movie, maybe Superman 2 or 3, where he's going to go Crypto, and Crypto's just going to run and sit like a good dog. And he's like, it'll be his on your left moment where he'll call for Crypto and Crypto will just show up, and everyone's like, oh my god, Crypto finally listened, and he'll save the day. So I'm sorry to tell you, this dog is only going to become a bigger part of this universe.
I know,
my feeling.
that is my concern. Is I actually don't want a story arc about the dog through like 3 movies that are meant to be actually about the main character,
Yeah.
which is either Superman, Supergirl, or whatever.
Well, he's
Because
gonna be in
then,
Supergirl.
It's going to be a
clearly,
big part of
yeah.
of
Supergirl. Sorry,
course,
mate.
yeah,
He's going to be right there again.
yeah.
Um, I mean, I know it took us a while to talk about the dog, but we also haven't talked about probably
The gang?
most important character in the whole movie, which is Lois Lane,
Oh well,
uh,
that too.
who I think, I mean, there's a recency bias. This might be the best Lois Lane we've ever seen. I think Rachel Brosnan is fucking phenomenal in this role and is the thing that ties everything together. Corenswet's perfectly cast, but the thing that ties this particular world together is this version of Lois Lane, because she effortlessly goes between the banter with Clark in the Daily Planet, the banter with Kal-El forming into a full-on argument where she's just like, I told you I wasn't good at this. Like, oh yeah, there's that like rough edge, I'm a lone wolf kind of thing that we know from other films and comics. She effortlessly hangs out with the Justice Gang and Mr. Terrific and goes and gets into the shit and jumps in a fucking spaceship, and like the effort that you have to put in as an actor to not make me go, get the fuck out, when a regular human gets in a spaceship and flies it around. Like, that should make everyone in the audience just get up and leave. That's, on paper, a horrible idea. She fucking nails it. And she's flying around. I'm like, of course she can fly a spaceship. Look at her. She's the coolest fucking person that's ever lived.
She's a
Like,
gangster. She's a
she
straight gangster.
just, one of the best, like, castings and one of the best deliveries of a character I've seen in decades is Rachel Brosnan playing Lois Lane. Fucking so good.
And you know what was crazy? I don't know. I'm gonna have to watch it clearly a second time. But there was times when she spoke, I could hear Margot Kidder.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
Yeah,
And
Agreed.
sass.
and I was like, wow. But just even her tone and just some of her delivery, I'm like, that's almost like they've got Margot Kidder's voice and just put it over the top. Like, it's
The mannerisms and the way in which she said things. I felt like she was much closer to Margot Kidder's Lois Lane. But Lois Lane has always, in my view, been, the independent one, the independent woman. She had a whole other life before Superman came along. Like Margot Kidder, she was up in a penthouse.
Yeah.
I don't know how much money Perry White was paying her, but like she had a really nice, she had a nice apartment in Metropolis kind of thing. So. I'm glad that they didn't make her like needy or dependent or
Yeah.
aloof or any of that. Yeah.
But it's like there's like a sexual sophistication as well. Like Margot Kidder's like asking Superman if she like what color her panties are. Like
Yeah.
that's beyond forward for 1978. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so Rachel Brosnan in this is just, she's got all the chutzpah that she has in the Marvelous Miss Maisel, where she's a woman out of time. She's ahead of everybody else by at least a few steps.
And I get the impression from this iteration of Lois that it literally, like, it doesn't mean shit to her that he's Superman. Like, she doesn't give a fuck. It's honestly, which I thought was great, because Margot Kidder, her Lois Lane, is in love with Superman, and then finds out, oh wait, you're that guy I know. Whereas in this one, I don't think she cares at all that he can fly and has superpowers or anything. I think she's like, yeah, this guy's hot and I dig him and he's really cool, but also sometimes he shits me and I'm going to call him on it. And the fact that when he's not here, he's probably out there punching aliens means nothing to me. I'm actually I'm more interested in having a sophisticated political debate about you flying in to a war zone, and how that ethically and morally represents you, than the fact that you're like, oh my god, look at him, he's so cool. Like, it was brilliant. It was brilliant writing. It was brilliant acting. I was like, wow, like, you couldn't care less.
She's a female human being who threw shade at a Green Lantern. Like that's straight up gangster. Like you can't. They're like intergalactic police officer, and you were like, you look like a fucking idiot. He's like, what? It, like, completely stunned him.
And also, like, she
great.
spent so much time with Mr. Terrific, who is just, smartest man on the planet kind of stuff. This genius whipping up all this cool shit, and at no point does she ever look lost, confused, intimidated. She's just like, what are you talking about? Like you're boring. Hurry up.
Except,
Come on, what are you
except for
doing?
the probably the best action moment in the film,
Yeah.
where she's in the
The bubble.
Oh,
Yeah.
when he
and the
whips out
cameras,
the
they've got a
things.
really wide, like it's like a
Yeah.
16mm lens or something like that, and they're going around, and you're seeing all this shit happen around her, and then it stops, and she's like, "Holy shit!" Like that was something I haven't seen before, and my boyfriend is Superman, you know?
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah, goddamn. I didn't know that. I think that moment was a bit like, oh, I didn't know we could do that as well, because Terrific's just a guy. Like
Yeah.
he's an Iron Man.
Yeah, he's just a dude,
he's got
yeah.
nothing except his brain.
Yeah.
And I think that moment is really, she played really well. It was like, oh fuck, like
Yeah. You don't
if
need
I
to be an
wanted
alien
to,
do that
I
shit.
could get me some little orbs and go to town as well. And then I think we see that reflected when she's flying his ship. She's kind of like, fuck, like yeah, us regular people can do this
While
stuff.
writing a Pulitzer Prize winning article at the same time.
Which brings me to another one.
Oh,
we have
Jimmy
Jimmy
Jimmy's
Olsen.
a poonhound in
Yeah.
this.
Yes.
Getting all the trim.
I
Yeah.
love
Eve Testmarker. Yes.
Eve
Skylar
Tessmacher.
Gazondo. I love him. I think he's a great actor. I was so happy he got cast in this because he's just been around doing cool shit for a while. He was like fantastic show that got cancelled called Santa Clarita Diet
Yeah,
with
yeah, it's
Drew
right over him
Barrymore
too.
and Timothy Oliphant. And he's popped into all this other stuff. And every time I see him, I'm like, this guy needs a bigger platform. He is fucking hilarious. And in this movie, they let him cook.
Yeah.
And all the stuff with him and Eve is just so good.
But it's not
Oh.
just that as well. There's you get the hint from Lois that all the
All
single
the girls
ladies,
like him.
all the single ladies are digging on Jimmy, and it's great because I don't even remember. There wasn't even a Jimmy in oh no, there was. Jimmy got killed in Afghanistan or something in Batman vs Superman, but you have to watch the director's cut to notice it or
Yes.
some shit.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
and then the one we had before that was motherfucking Marty McFly's brother. You
Yes.
know? Don't call me chief. You know that.
Yeah,
that
James
guy-
McClure.
Yeah.
Yes.
j-
Yeah.
to
Mark
have-
McClure.
McClure. Mark.
yeah,
Sorry.
Mark McClure. To have like Jimmy have like some real agency and to lean into that, like being kind of a nerdy dude is cool now, and that's women are interested. It's not you're not all Supermen, you know. I just thought it was a really good spin on that character.
Yeah, it was brilliant.
Superman's friend Jimmy Olsen, yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, and he crushed it and sort of took it in a direction I didn't expect Jimmy Olsen to go in this one. It was like, yes.
Yeah.
And the things about having, what's her name? Eve, what is it? Testmarker?
Testmarker.
Tessmacher!
Like, having her be gathering evidence on Lex the whole time just by being an idiot. Because when she showed up at the start, when he's like
Yeah.
out in the act, I'm like, oh, they're doing a riff on like Gene Hackman's Lex Luthor where he's just got a bimbo
A
around.
bimbo.
And so he's just got his bimbo girl, and that's fun. And even like one of the guys in his tech bro lair is called Otis. And I was
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
okay, cool, noddy noddy, winky winky. And I was like, no, she's actually like she's a bit of an idiot, but she's a genius idiot. Like
Usually
she's covering her
important to the
ass.
plot. Yeah, yeah.
I was like, oh, that was mwah. But having her so obsessed with Jimmy and just little things like what is he, prawn toes or something? Is that what she saved as in his phone?
Mutant toes.
Mutant
Mutant
toes, yeah,
toes.
something. That she says, you said my
That's
toes look like
terrible.
prawns. He's
That
like,
is
don't worry
terrible.
about that.
You said my toes look like someone dropped a prawn cocktail.
That's it, yeah. Yeah, just like little fun things like that they don't have to mean anything. There's a lot of stuff in this movie where James Gunn is like, if you wanted me to, I could film the scene and show you what this is, but we don't need it, so we're just going to call her Mutant
Gonna
Toes.
talk about it. Yeah.
You know, we get hardly any Perry White in this movie.
Mm.
Yet I feel like he's a fully formed character. I feel like if the camera just followed him instead of Superman, there would be a full scene that was
Yeah.
ready to go.
Yeah, there's a
And I
lot, there's a lot
believe-
happening that you going on that you intuit. And
Yeah.
the same way in a comic book, like there's someone might be off panel, but you know that there's some shit happening, you know, and then he ends up at the end, he's like, "Yep, awesome, that's perfectly written." Print.
You guys sound like you know a bit more than this. The character of Steve Lombard, which is played by Beck Bennett in this from SNL, is he a thing? Because it felt like Beck Bennett is too famous to be. Who the hell is Steve Lombard?
He's just a character from the Daily Planet lure. So's
Okay.
the other girl, the one with the
Yeah,
glasses.
Cat Grant.
Yeah,
Cat
Grant.
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 Yeah,
Yeah.
they're all sort of of that oeuvre.
See, this is what I mean. Like these characters who pop up who barely have a line
Yeah,
of
this is
dialogue.
Cat Grant's first live action appearance, I believe.
Yeah. Yeah.
Who is the
she's in
guy?
cartoon, I think.
There's a great
s-
moment when they're evacuating the Daily Planet, and he's like, "How many seats you got on that thing?" And she's like, "Oh, 6." And he's like, "All right, you come too." And some random guy comes along and is in the ship and doesn't talk. I don't know. I think is it Ron Troop is the name of the character. I was like, what don't I know? What don't I get? But I loved that obviously James Gunn knew.
Yeah.
And everyone knew what they were doing. Even if we were like, like you could just follow those characters and go. And I would watch it too. Honestly, I would watch a TV series of the Daily Planet where it's like the shit that happens whenever Clark leaves. And it's like,
You're gonna
Kent,
get
we
it.
need you to run a
Don't
story.
worry,
Kent's
you're gonna
gone.
get it.
I
It's all
kind
good.
of hope we do. It'd be kind of the Superman version of the Gotham Central comic book series. Like,
I
let's
would
just-
trade. I'd trade out a few extended scenes of Crypto for some more time with Perry White.
At the planet, yeah. That's fair. Gotham
Yeah.
Central was a fucking baller book, by the way. That was awesome.
Yes, amazing. But I love that this world is. It doesn't need to waste a lot of time. It doesn't become a 3-hour thing because we've got to have that scene with Perry and Lois having an in-depth conversation, or we've got to have that scene where we fully get to see how and why the robots got built. Like he's just got fucking robots. Obviously,
Yeah.
somebody some
You're
point built some
absolutely right,
robots.
yeah. It's the Grant Morrison and yeah, like heavily influenced this film. Obviously, All Star Superman in a beautiful way. Like Grant understands more about Superman than any of us ever will. But his idea of if you tell a child, you know, human like grown-ups are critical, like overly critical of everything. If you tell a child, oh, in this movie that girl's best friend is a talking fish, they'll go, okay. And that's it. They just give over it, you know. And you lose that as you get older. You're like, oh, well, it just doesn't make any sense that he would fly like that. Well, it doesn't make any fucking sense that he would fly, like, let alone how it happens. So just give up and enjoy the ride. And I think that's what this movie does. It's just, yeah, he's got, what's that? They shine the light on him and he's healed? Cool.
Yeah, no, I really love that.
Yeah.
I thought that was really cool that they did that.
Yeah.
Especially if
Makes
you've read
sense
the death of Superman and that comic book series. You know, the son's so important to him. So yeah, anyway.
That's definitely where he's going to end up. Like, there's going to be some sort of Death of Superman story arc, or maybe they'll do Kingdom Come, or you know, like
Yeah,
once
bro,
they get.
I
to
want
the
to
end of all
see
this.
this universe's version of Steel. Let's do it. Let's bring him in, man.
fucking Henry Irons,
Yeah,
absolutely.
I want to see Cyborg Superman. Let's go.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I kind of now that we've kicked open the door and like, yeah, this is the comic book version. We're not even remotely trying to make this real world. This could be happening in New York City shit.
Yeah,
Like, and that I think is the big thing that DC has always had in its back pocket over Marvel is that like none of these places are real to start with, so we don't need to pretend.
yeah.
You know, the Avengers Tower is in New York. It's like, okay, cool. It's like Gotham City is a place. And like, even better.
It gives you a lot
Metropolis
more
exists.
latitude as well because you don't have to. You're not married to a geography. Like you can, you know, go. So Metropolis has a bay, and you know it has that you know topography and all that shit. But if you want to turn the camera around and shoot mountains, you can. It doesn't. There's no
Yeah.
real map.
And
of
you can
that
blow
area.
stuff
Yeah.
up and it's like it doesn't matter. Like,
How close are you to Coast City? Well, it doesn't fucking matter. Like Green Lantern can be anywhere he wants. It's
yeah. Flash is really fast, so it doesn't matter where he is. He can
yeah,
just be
yeah,
there.
exactly.
I mean, there's obviously one big dog that we haven't touched on
Big dog.
really at all in this entire
Mark Kent, yeah,
episode.
yeah. Mark Kent's awesome. She's
Uh,
awesome.
is the
Out
big
there
bad
making pancakes.
bald man.
Oh yes, true.
Lex Luthor, Nicholas Hoult coming in, keeping up a time-honored tradition of making way more fucking money than Superman in a Superman movie. Way to go, Nick! But I loved him. I thought he was fantastic. Did you guys, were you guys into it? Because he
Yeah.
auditioned to be Superman as well,
Yes,
which I thought
correct.
was hilarious. And then he just shaves his head and turns around to be.
It's much better casting for Lex. Honestly,
Yeah.
he's got a wiriness and a kind of a peculiarity that works. It's why he was so good at playing Beast. You know,
Yeah.
and he's petulant.
Oh,
Like
my God.
the Gene Hackman is absolutely convinced of his superiority, but this Lex has
So
an
is his
inferiority
Lex.
complex. Like it's really bad. Like Lex thinks in the Superman 78, he is positive that he's smarter and better than Superman. This guy does all of that because he knows that he's not.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. He also
Yeah.
fully feels like a character who has spent his entire life trying to like impress his dad. And they don't need to bring that up at all in the movie. That's a big part of his character. They're just like you can see
Yeah,
he's got something to prove.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
As the
he
bald
was so
often
good.
do. Sorry, throwing shade at bald people. This is all CGI. There's not actually hair here.
Yeah, that's it.
It's crayon.
It does look like a cartoon.
Thanks.
I really can't think of one thing to pick apart with Nicholas Holt's Lex. He has one of
The only thing I thought about, which I was like, what's that there? Is at the end the confrontation between Superman and Lex. I'm like, I don't know whether it's just because I've seen so many media dumps of these two, but I feel like there's this kind of like, you know how like every episode of He-Man that He-Man and Skeletor have a new rivalry, but they're kind of like you feel like they're like friends or relatives, or there's something between them where it's like, I'm not going to kill him, I'm just going to let him get away with it this time, you know. And I felt that at the end of the Superman, where it was like, I know that he is, you know, because that is obviously what Lex's character is. He's highly narcissistic. He has an inferiority complex, and he hates Superman because he's everything that Lex could never be. And he's incredibly jealous of that. But I feel like that there's this, if he didn't hate him so much, he'd want to be his friend.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like that's
That's
the
exactly
tension.
what 10 seasons of Smallville will tell you. you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
And I got that at the end of that.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I feel like the fact that he's gone to so many lengths and so many of his triumphs are being replicated off the back of Superman and his DNA. I think he's just obsessed with Superman as well. Like it's
Well, he
So
literally
just-
crafts
yeah.
a Superman who does whatever he says. Like that's his ultimate dream, is to have a Superman who is his puppet,
Point.
and just to be there to do whatever he tells him to. I feel like the most painful moment for Lex in the movie is when Ultraman like gets kicked into the alternate dimension or dies or whatever happens to him when he goes through that hole. But you can see like there's some genuine pain and loss there, because he hasn't just lost his weapon; he's lost like his thing that he loves, that he genuinely wants around because it makes him feel better. And I'm sure there could be like a whole side scene to the movie where Lex is taking that character into dark rooms and just being like making him do unspeakable things just so he can feel more powerful than Superman. I believe that kind of stuff would exist in this version of Lex Luthor. You know, just because I could, they made him do these horrible things just because I could, and now I feel better than Superman for a minute.
Would you reckon they'll kick him into an alternate dimension, and he's going to go there and be the Ultraman that we know from the books, and he's going to, you know, hook up with Ultraman and Superwoman and the Green Ring and all those guys and form the Injustice Gang? And is that something that's going to happen? Like, is that going to come back? Because I shit you not, when I first saw Ultraman, I'm like, Henry Cavill's under that mask.
I hope.
Blow
I
everybody's
So
really
many
hope
people were thinking that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right? It would have been pretty cool.
that would have been so good if he was like, I opened a pocket dimension, and in that pocket dimension, I found another you.
And all he does is take that off, and he looks like Brendan Fraser at the beginning of The Mummy.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the kid looks like Brendan Fraser anyway, but yeah.
Have you seen the photos of Fraser in the suit from when he screen tested for Superman Returns? It's
No.
one of the greatest horrors of this reality is that he didn't get that part, because
Yeah.
man, he looks good in that
Yeah.
suit. Yeah.
Sliding Doors, that would have been a very different career for him. He wouldn't have won the Academy Award for The Whale.
Yeah.
Has anyone seen him lately though? He's looking good. He's
Oh,
getting
Oh,
fit.
Back, baby.
That Oscar money, he's all good now. Don't worry about it. Good
He
on
never
him.
left my heart. He's always been
Yeah.
there. Just-
I know
he's
there's,
never
I've
gone.
got,
He was
I've
just
got a
resting.
2-hour-long podcast that's going to be released soon with you being very happy about Brendan.
Oh, I forgot about that.
He's going, yeah, we're getting the backlog going.
The other thing we haven't really discussed is the Justice League or the gang and the
Justice
location.
Gang.
We actually saw, like, I think for me, for the first time, seeing almost the cartoon version, or the version I'd seen
was
in
pretty
comics,
cool.
seeing it for real, like this massive open space, but only 3 members or 4 members.
Yeah, oh, well, we haven't. We also haven't talked about the other two super powered people in this, which is Hawk Girl, who, for reasons I don't understand and don't care about, I don't think she's ever done this in any of the animated things of the cartoons. Screeches like an actual hawk all the time. Oh my God, I love that. I thought that was incredible. And I loved her. I thought she was great. And then my boy, Anthony Corrigan, showing up as Metamorpho, or the Elemental Man, they call him this one. But, oh God, that was cool.
Why
I
is
dug
he your
that.
boy?
Because he's in Barry and he's fucking incredible.
Yeah, he is great in Barry.
Yeah, I love him
Really
so
good in
much.
Barry.
Yeah,
Hysterical.
I tell
and
everyone
he also played
about this
Victor
guy.
Zsasz.
Yes, he
in
did.
something. Was that in? He played it in Gotham, the TV
Yeah, I think it was
series,
Gotham.
maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah. Preternaturally no hair. Is that correct?
Alopecia.
Yes, correct.
Yeah. Alopecia from a young age, and is just every interview I see him in, he's a delight. Every time he's on screen, I'm like, more of this. He's just so charismatic as I can't remember his character's name in Barry. Noah Hank. He's really charismatic as Noah Hank. I was really surprised to see like how muted they made him in this, but he made it work.
Yeah.
Like through the makeup, through the like just sitting there looking sad, he was the most entertaining, sympathetic, interesting character for most of this film. I did not love that they just gave him a cartoon baby because when Superman was in the Block River holding up a cartoon baby, I was like, why even have human actors in this movie? Like, why just make the whole thing a cartoon if that was what you wanted to do? Because again, I don't feel any concern for this child.
That sequence is really stuck in your craw, hasn't it?
It just because like
you could
it really
lift it out of there too. There's not a lot of plot.
they
going on.
played it so strongly as like this is the most tense moment. Like, is Superman gonna make it? Yes. Is Superman gonna save the babe? Yes. What about if nothing's gonna happen to Superman, especially not in this weird cosmic river, and you're not gonna kill a baby? You're not going to kill a baby in the first movie of the new DC universe. You're not going to kill a baby in a Superman movie that isn't directed by Zack Snyder, and you're not going to kill a baby in a James Gunn
I mean,
movie.
to be fair though, like in the destruction of Metropolis in Man of Steel, a lot of babies died.
Exactly.
Do the math. At
Yeah.
least a lot of babies died.
He
Yeah.
definitely destroyed a hospital. Like there was just no
A family at a gas station.
Yeah, you're exactly right.
like had Lex
Well,
been
Mum.
holding the baby, I would have been like, well, Lex did just shoot that other guy in the head and didn't care about it. I believe that, and he seems to have real disdain for metahumans. So I believe that
still
Rex, that Lex might shoot a baby in the head, even though I don't think they'd let it happen. I could see that being a tense scene. But when Superman's got the baby, that baby's not in trouble. So that's why that scene stuck in my mind, is just like, I don't feel like this was the best use of our time as an audience.
I think you've got the best nitpick of the movie saying about the stakes, because even the fact that Metropolis was getting ripped apart and we have so many buildings fall, like, how is everyone evacuated that quickly? Like, people are dying. And we saw some really great shots, action shots of Superman saving a little kid. And like you talked about the squirrel, like there was that shot that we saw, it's in the trailer as well, where something's exploding and he protects the little girl. And we see some really good shots like that. But I'm like, I'm sorry, that much is happening to any city. Someone's dying. Someone's trapped in a car. Someone's actually, we saw a woman trapped in a car on a bridge, and it was all the building was falling down. He's holding it up, and again, but what? How many people live in this city? Come on, like it's a little bit impractical to think that there's not, unfortunately, some collateral damage along the way.
Yeah.
He can't save everyone.
Having a threat that big is kind of,
Yeah.
it's a little old hat as well. Like everybody's doing that. Like it would have been enough for him to be, fighting Ultraman and all that stuff, and then just have the conflict going on in those two. Sorry, I can't remember the name of the two fake places that they made up.
Jahapur and
Jahanapan and
Miria or something.
Nick or whatever it was.
He's the
And
hammer
that going
of
on
something.
opposite that would be fine. You didn't have to crack the city in half as well. It just seems a little bit like disaster porn.
I feel like that's the second or third time they've done that as well, where they have they're going to conduct the complete destruction of the world, or like split it in half, or it's always something like that. It was in Superman Returns, Man of Steel, and then they did it in this one. I was like, ah, he didn't have to do that. As you say, it would have been fine if he was just like battling, on the
But I think
side. But
this comes back to the fundamental problem of Superman as a character in any medium, is in order to make his powers worthwhile, you have to have a cataclysmic event, because anything like a fight, he's gonna win the fight, even if he loses a fight at the start of this movie and then he goes back and wins immediately. Like he's Superman. He's not Batman. He's not even the Flash. Like there are very few things in the entire cosmos that can challenge him. So to have like a climactic battle, you've got to and then there's 50,000 super soldiers, and then there's another version of him, and then the city's getting ripped in half, and then Lex has got another dimension, and then there's a baby in trouble, and it's just you got to keep throwing everything on. And as an audience, we're just like.
But logically, it doesn't make sense, because it's like, why would Lex want to split the world in half? Because guess what? He can't live there either. Like, that's why it doesn't make
messy.
sense.
It's a messy story after
The
a
whole
point.
film is a mess. It's a total mess, but it's a beautiful mess to watch. That's why we're talking about the positives more than the negatives.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah.
I personally understood the logic of the problem that was set up, but I think they made it a little bit too big. And the only thing that I didn't understand, so when Lois and Mr. Perfect go to
Mr. Terrific.
Mr. Terrific,
You can call him Mr. Perfect if you want to, mate. Whatever you're into.
That's just how he feels about it.
When they go to this base where there's the pocket universe, the entrance to the pocket universe, where is that supposed to be?
It feels like it's just on the beach.
No, it's supposed to be in one of those places, isn't it?
No. It feels like it's just on the beach of
See,
Metropolis.
I think that's the thing that got me, because logic says it's probably not that far from Metropolis, but it makes it sound like it's an army base, and it kind of makes it feel like it. And even the look of it is that it's in one of those countries, so it's not even close. So then all of a sudden, this pocket universe gets ripped open, and then next minute it's on Metropolis doorstep.
No, I'm pretty sure it's on the beach, on the coast of Metropolis, like whatever imaginary coastline that is.
Yeah. Okay.
I was more distracted by why they were all wearing Hawaiian shirts. Like, it was fun. Yeah. It was a fun thing to do, but it was just
from a luau.
I was like, what? Huh? Why?
It was a company party.
Why Hawaiian shirts? Why tents? Why tents and Hawaiian shirts?
It was Fun Shirt Friday, all right, man.
You've got all those computers sitting on desks in open tents, and every 5 seconds someone's landing a helicopter and blowing dirt everywhere. It feels like a really inefficient way to run a very high-tech operation.
Anyway, yeah.
Build a house, Lex. You've got the money.
Logic, though, yeah. I like how you got there. Can I just also make a little adjustment here before we finish up? I've been calling him Corenswet for fucking years. Like, as soon as he got cast, I was like, "That's the poor bugger. What a terrible name. I mean, what would be worse, Hitler? Like, But it's Corenswet.
It is Corenswet. Yes, there's an E in there. A very important E. A crucial E, you might say.
Soups, Mr. Sweat. I apologise profusely for naming.
Profusely, Sweat.
Yeah, if you want to make fun of my last name, please do. It's wood. It's basically a euphemism for a hard penis. So as much as you like. My nickname was Woody in high school. So
that's a pretty good nickname. That's fine. That's good. Did you dress like a cowboy a lot and say, "There's a snake in my boots"?
No, I just had a permanent erection, just all through high school, all of them years, erect.
Who amongst us didn't?
Me?
I know. Where did you go with that?
Probably Corrine.
What do you mean? Sorry, I don't understand.
Oh, jeez.
I'm a 41-year-old virgin. I don't know what's going on down there with Ladytown. I just assume it's all the same.
You have 2 kids, all right. So I know you've done it at least twice.
Now I feel like you should be Skeletor and just run out until next time.
I just close my eyes both times.
Till we meet again. Yeah, that guy.
This movie is currently sitting at $337 million worldwide, which feels low, if I'm being honest. I feel like it's low for the cultural impact that it appears to be having. It is everywhere. It's on every billboard. It's on every bus. It is. My Instagram feed is nothing but like interviews and discussions, either with people from the movie or about the movie. It is omnipresent in every aspect of of life. If I open up my podcast feed on Spotify, every show is doing a Superman episode. Ours is the best though, so don't listen to them. But
I've got 2 more coming up this week.
it is like it's literally everywhere, and I feel like 337. Like it's nothing to sneeze at, but this is, like we discussed at the top of the show, the most famous fictional character ever, and has the most recognizable symbol. Like people who know nothing about superhero, or people who have superhero movie fatigue, or people who don't care about any of the DC, Marvel, whatever that is. When you see the big S on the poster, I feel like they probably expected more people to be like, "Oh fuck yeah, I'm going to go see that movie, the Super Guy, great." So it's early days. I thought this movie would be well past the $500 million by now and would close out pretty close to $1 billion by the time of its box office run.
Where was Barbie sitting by the time it hit $1 billion? Like, where was it? Where was it sitting?
For its
Budget,
opening weekend,
Yeah.
that's a great question. So how long has it been out now? Are we sitting on the second or third weekend?
Second week, I think.
Second week.
Tuesday,
Okay.
Thursday, 2 weeks ago. So
All right. So I'll see if I can find the next. That's
Hang
an
on, what day is
excellent
this?
question.
We're into the third week.
Today-
to the third week. Sorry, I forgot what day it was.
So it's the third weekend. Let's see if I can find the dates.
Yeah, that's interesting.
No, isn't this the
Yeah,
second
you're right.
weekend?
I mean, the budget for to promote this film would have been almost twice what its actual budget was,
Yeah.
because you're right, it's absolutely ubiquitous.
So Barbie's opening was 162 million domestic.
Christ.
Yeah, that's its opening weekend domestic. So it far exceeded where Superman is at the moment.
But don't more women go to the movies than men? So there's that.
Well, women buy more tickets to anything.
Really?
Yeah, women buy the tickets to things regardless of the medium. It's yeah,
I
across
think
the board.
that's just me fucking up the average, and tickets all over the place. That's interesting because yeah, I mean, I wouldn't equate its success with the success of Barbie, but I mean, in terms of properties, it kind of makes sense.
Yeah, it's branding.
It'll be
Like,
interesting to see how it does once the people kind of give over to what it is and be like, okay, or maybe 4K sales or streaming will be interesting as well. Like, you didn't take that into account.
I think what'll also be interesting is it's about to be not the only superhero game in town, because Fantastic Four is about to open, and I think that's
Yeah.
going to swallow up a lot of repeat viewings where people might go, "Hey, do you want to go see Superman again this weekend?" Instead, they'll go, "Hey, do you want to go check out Fantastic Four? Superman was pretty fun. Like maybe superhero movies are back." And I think that's really gonna hurt it. James Gunn isn't worried at all. I'm not worried at all. I think like these movies are gonna keep going no matter what, and I think that he's started something fantastic. But it is a little curious because the next two movies are not Superman or Batman or Flash or Aquaman. The next two movies are Supergirl and Clayface, which are largely untested properties in this market. I think there's a good chance that Supergirl outperforms it, honestly, because I think people are
100%
more
agree.
interested to see
Yeah.
what a Supergirl movie can do than what a Superman movie can do, because we kind of all know what a Superman movie can do. We've never really had the opportunity to see what a Supergirl movie with budget, time, effort, energy, tender loving care, what can happen if that happens. And people loved the TV show by and large. Like
Yeah.
that's recent memory. People are like, yeah, fucking Supergirl's fun. Like that's a fun character. Clayface, goddamn, I can't wait to see Clayface. Oh my god.
it's, Mike Flanagan. Like,
It's
cut
the
and
most
paste.
exciting idea I've heard for a film in any genre in quite a while. So I'm
And
pretty.
it's going to be about an actor who's dealing with the sort of proliferation of AI as well, which is interesting. What someone would do, what lengths would someone go to kind of fight against losing that part of themselves.
And it's also largely based on the two episode arc from Batman the Animated Series.
Yeah,
That's what they're pulling
exactly.
from,
Which is
Feats
the
of Clay.
perfect
So
origin
good.
for that version of the character.
Oh.
I just had a couple of quick points. One is talking about Gunn not being worried about it or whatever. Did you see the thing that in the news today where he's launched like $1 billion lawsuit against the White House for posting that picture of Trump's face superimposed onto the Superman poster?
I did not see that, but I'm glad he did, because that was just an absolutely horrific thing they did. And now that you've said it out loud, I realize is very much copyright infringement.
It absolutely
you
is, yeah. And
cannot use the S, baby. That is verboten.
even if nothing happens, that'll just be a massive annoyance, which is really, really great. The Supergirl film is purported to be based on the Tom King run, which is sort of big cosmic sci-fi adventure stuff. From the Supergirl in the room, how did you feel about her appearance? At the end of the picture, Corinne.
I'm excited to see Millie play that role. I think
Great.
they've cast it well in the first place. I didn't know what to expect. I have the Woman of Tomorrow comic book, but I haven't read it yet.
It's pretty great.
Yeah, I knew that this was going to be a very different Supergirl to what Helen Slater is. But I think my big thing is when she turned up drunk, was like, oh, there goes any opportunity for little girls to potentially get excited about being inspired by growing up and having a Supergirl, a superhero. And I just immediately, I feel, because I took my child self to the movies, that version of me, I went, oh no, Supergirl's fallen off. The wheels have fallen off. Like, she's an alcoholic and she's got problems, and that, like, and I don't mean it's not about merchandising, but it's about how do you connect little girls to find their inner superhero, to be strong, to be confident, to be brave. These are all the things that by chance I saw the Superman films and went, oh my God, wow, like there's this guy who can, fly, and he wants to do good, and he's got all these powers. Like, I wonder if there's a girl version of that. And then I find out, oh my God, there is one just for me. And she looks like me, or I look like her. This is possible, And so it inspired all of this in me from a really young age. And even though, like, I role played it over and over and over since the age of 4, I took on those superhero properties because well, that's what I wanted to be when I grew up. Every birthday wish, it was like, what do you want to be when you grow up? Want to be Supergirl. Give me the ability to fly. Like, I want to be a hero. And then, obviously you realize that you're immortal. You have to make that your own as a human. You have to make it as real as possible. And so, and when I first went to a convention, and it was to meet Helen Slater, just went there dressed up as someone in a costume. I wasn't a cosplayer. I was dressed in the costume to meet her. That was my very specific mission when I got there, just to pay respect to the woman who inspired me to become who I am today, because I role played all of these attributes. And then after meeting her and like little different encounters, I had this one mum come over to me and say, oh my God, I'm so glad you're here. My daughter is not into Barbies. She's a superhero girl, and there's no superhero toys out there for my daughter to play with, and she likes superhero things. And I was like, I felt this real responsibility, because when I was a kid growing up, there were no Supergirl toys. There wasn't anything for little girls to be anything other than pretty and pink and a princess, and wait for a man to rescue her, and then all those other little things that come into that, like when you're a little 5-6-year-old and you're role playing in the schoolyard with your friends. I didn't want to be April O'Neil in the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles role play game. I wanted to be Donatello. I wanted to be the smart one, and so, because it was just because, oh, you're a girl, you have to play April O'Neil. So we used to get like another girl who had brown hair to play April O'Neil, because I didn't want to be the girl part. I wanted to be the superhero,
Was she wearing
and then
a yellow jumpsuit as well? Or
Oh,
by chance?
we just pretended that she was.
Yeah, right.
But, and then like role playing with other girls, they would all want to be princesses. And then I would show up and they're like, go away. We're waiting for Prince Charming to come and rescue us. Like, and I'm like, I'll save you. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, I think I shared recently on my Instagram of the the trend of, who are you trying to impress trend. And then it cuts to like a version of your younger self. So I did one of myself as Supergirl, and then I cut to a video footage of me wearing my very first costume
That's
as a
amazing.
kid, role playing. Exactly the problem that I had when I was a kid was I turned up to rescue two princesses from a ghost, and I fought the bad guy, and I won and saved the day. Right. And so what I'm getting at is that, like, if this becomes a drunken mess and there's cigarette smoking and she just goes off the bandwagon, little girls have just lost that opportunity to have a moment with a superhero, especially for them, because not all girls are into Barbies. I certainly wasn't. I know if you look at my other Instagram, I'm very much into fashion and things like that, but it's very much a role play, creative, putting like outfits together. But me at the core is that I like to do boy things and I like to do girl things. And I want connection with something that inspires me to be a better person, and I feel like little girls need that amongst each other, to be part of a superhero gang and fight good together versus being, who's the prettiest princess amongst everyone. So that's kind of what I'm nervous about for the new Supergirl. On a adult level, from an adult's perspective, I am looking forward to seeing something that is, really delves into her origin story. Her origin story has kind of been told through the TV show, but I want to see more. Um, and I accept that Kara is traumatized by, the fact that she's actually technically older than Clark, and that she remembers everything that happened, whereas he doesn't because he was a baby and she was, I don't know, what, 14 or something like that.
Hmm.
And so she has all of this trauma, like post-traumatic stress disorder, from what she saw her whole family die, or, her planet blow up, etc. How do you deal with that when your parents are not there? You're lugging all this, baggage around, and exploring how, when people have trauma, they delve into maladaptive coping mechanisms to self-soothe, which is addiction, which obviously that's kind of what's happening. And then the redemption of, like, how does she turn all this around?
Yeah.
How does she get through all this trauma? How does she face all her fears? And how does she become a better superhero for that? Because I think that is still necessary today, because, I think about all the dark, difficult things I've been through in my life. Every time I've had to overcome something that me as myself could not find it within myself, like a Corinne finding that strength within herself. I lean back into the characteristics of a superhero of, like, I walk into a meeting room with an imaginary cape on, and I'm like, right, now I'm playing this role and I'm going to have this conversation, whereas if it was me, I'd be like, how am I going to construct this conversation? What am I going to say? Like, I play that role because it helps me be what I need to be, that at that time I didn't feel like I could be. And over time, like, I guess playing that character, I've integrated those things into myself. And now when I go out into cosplay, what I'm doing is being that mortal version for children so they don't give up hope that they can be that too. Do you know what I'm saying? So that's why I feel like it's so important to not completely take something away from the kids. I want little girls to have the Supergirl Barbie or the Supergirl action figure, and I want them to grow up and go, yeah, I can be a superhero too. For the teenagers, I want them to realize whatever they're going through, you can draw on all these strong properties within yourself, because that's what helps you get through the bad things. If you've got an internal generator that is courageous and strength, and, you know, you can get through things, then you'll tackle life's difficult moments. Whereas when you don't have that, you I think you succumb more to difficult times. And that's the thing, like, the earliest, not to go on a big psychology tangent, but like, your the sooner you experience childhood trauma, like the earliest you experience it, the greater the risk is by the time you get to about 30 that you start having problems with addiction and the wheels start to fall off and you can have depression and, you know, uh, you know, thoughts about ending your life, all that sort of stuff can start happening in your 30s. Like that's sort of the halfway mark of life, right? So there needs to be all those sorts of maybe elements in there, but it can't be like, oh well, who's this character relate to? Or, Superman, it's like they've got the action figures and he's the good guy and he's not completely screwed up by his experience because he was raised young with good parents. Do you understand what I'm saying? So like that's my only real fear about where Gunn goes with Supergirl is how the ripple effect of, because with the marketing and stuff of Superman, it's like, it's different because it's the good guy story. Whereas if they go too dark with her story, then who does it belong to?
Well, I wonder with what Gunn's doing, and I thought this when I was watching it. I wonder who these movies are for. Like the Superman movie isn't a kids movie. Like there's swearing in it, there's violence in it. Superman, like the thing I found really jarring about this movie is when he talks about, they're like, oh, do you know this president? He's like, I know what he smells like when he pissed himself when I was taking him across. Like Superman shouldn't say piss. He shouldn't say pissed himself. That shouldn't be in there. But it's also like, even without that stuff, it's not really geared towards kids. Like my son is 6 years old. He saw all the marketing. He had the cape. He had the Superman character. He was so excited for the movie. I watched the movie. I was like, yeah, like there's nothing in there that's like, traumatizing. Sure, see Superman. And he watched Superman. And I was like, what do you think of Superman, buddy? And he went, eh. Like it's not for kids, this movie. It's not geared to that mindset. It has all the comic, colorful stuff in it. But James Gunn isn't writing this movie for kids. And then you look at this coming up slate, you've got the Supergirl, you've also got Clayface. Like he's not building a universe for kids here. He's like, we're going to make a horror movie. So I think you are well and truly onto something with your concern with, there is a good chance that he's going to use the Supergirl character as the parallel of Superman. And it's like, here's what's happened when you have the good upbringing, you become truth, justice, and the American way. And here's what's happened when things go a bit rough and you have chaotic, party girl.
Woo girl.
Yeah. So
I think Superman was still a PG rated film. So that's 13 and over, isn't it? PG? Or is PG 13 and under? PG's 13 and under, M 15 plus. Yeah. So yeah, and under 15.
But Superman is rated M.
Yes.
This Superman movie is it's rated M. So this is for
I thought it was
15 and
PG.
No, it's an M-rated movie.
They say shit too many times for it to be.
Yeah, they swear a lot, and there's lots of sexual stuff in there.
Do you know what's weird? I did not notice the swearing. I actually saw.
I only noticed it because I was watching it and being like, will this land for my kids?
My kids didn't have a choice.
every time there was a shit, I was like, okay, like I don't care. I swear in front of my kids all the time. Like it's not an issue. But yeah, when he's saying like, yeah, he pissed himself, and when Hawkgirl like drops him, which is a hilarious scene, but when Hawkgirl just drops a guy to his death, it's like, I'm not Superman.
I'm like, Superman. Yeah, that's pretty gangster.
I was like, all right, like cool moment in a film that works, but you definitely in your meetings about the 4 quadrants they always go on about, you're like, we don't give a shit about people who can't afford to buy tickets. This movie is for people who have money. So you 15 and older, show up.
Do you want to know who it's for? I'll tell you right now. It's not for kids because there are no kids out there right now at 11:22 on a Sunday night talking about it on a podcast. So it's for us. It's for us. We are the target audience. It's like, I'm going to make these motherfuckers chat about it. Like I said, I've got this tonight. I'm recording an episode on my show tomorrow about Superman because Addie's, my podcasting partner is a huge Superman fan. Me and Tommy did Superman 78 in knowing that this was coming up, and I'm recording with the Till the End of the Line guys on Tuesday morning for it. So we are the audience, friends, and we can be as critical as we want to be, and we can be as joyful as we want to be, but the bottom line is Superman is here, and he's not going anywhere for a good long while, regardless of how much money he makes, and I don't care what Supergirl is going to be. It'll probably be, like you said, a redemptive story where you've got this young girl who is faced with a challenge. I think, if it's got anything to do with the Girl of Tomorrow story, she's going to be, she's going to have to save some people or a race of some sort, and she's going to say no. It's going to be, I don't want the responsibility of that. The Joseph Campbell hero journey classic, and she's going to come out of it on the other side. But as long as she keeps on the trench coat, because trench coat and a superhero costume is dope.
It is dope. It's great.
That's all I care
But
about.
you say like Regan, it's for us, and it absolutely is for us. But like I'm
Who are the toys for?
Well, that's the thing. Like,
Look at you. They're you.
My son has the toy, but he bought the toy before he saw the movie, and now he has no interest in any more toys now that after he's seen the movie. But also, like in 10 years, my son will be 16, and if he hasn't had 10 years of like, hey, how cool are these fucking DC movies? Why the fuck is he going to show up with his friends and watch them when he's got TikTok and whatever else has come out by then and Netflix? Like, it feels like they should be doing a bit more. I mean, not to quote a monster on this show, but he who controls the youth controls the future. Like, get in early. And I think Corinne's point there that like little girls having someone to run to.
Agreed.
If you bring out a Supergirl movie that is for 6 to 66 or whatever, and every girl to young woman to adult grandmother can go in and watch and be like, fuck yes, Supergirl. The way that Black Panther did for African American audiences, where African American people walked out and went, fucking finally, oh my God, thank you for giving us just a hero who's just a hero. That was really fucking great. This movie's going to make $1 billion, and we'll go and see every other movie that this character's in. I think Supergirl has an opportunity to really do that, and I do think it is interesting that their first reveal of this character was piss drunk coming in from a bender on a different
She goes
planet.
to other planets with red suns so that
get
she
drunk.
can be affected by alcohol. What the fuck do they have alcohol on other places where they've got other suns for?
She takes alcohol with
in
her.
the movie. I was like,
Duty free.
She roadies,
so look,
I'm
a lot of fascinating things.
Yeah, it is fascinating because I do like that we can have movies for us where they are a little bit more adult, but then I do have that awkward position where, my daughter was asking me, oh, is there any female, like she knows about Wonder Woman, but it was kind of like, oh, is there a Supergirl, pretty much? And I'm like, yes, there is a Supergirl. She, oh my God, I want to see that. And I knew there was a movie coming out, and then I saw that little bit at the end, or she saw that too. I'm like, I don't think this is going to be the movie that you can watch. So,
and like in this movie, you have 3 other superhero characters, and one of them doesn't talk, and that's the girl. Like Hawk Girl barely says 2 words. So yeah, they're not really planting the seed anywhere, and it seems like 2026 isn't going to change that. And again, look, what the fuck do I know? I'm not the head of a studio. But Clayface and Supergirl are coming out in 2026.
Bring it on.
The machine has started, baby. Like it's happening. We're getting 2 DC movies a year and like 3 shows for the next 10 years. It's coming thick and fast.
Wow.
So it'll be. Look, I'm pumped for all of it. I do think it is interesting. Like in 10 years, will we give a shit? Like I hope so. I hope it's still.
Yes, because we still love Christopher Reeve's films, right? We care.
That's it. Like,
We
but
still care.
in 10 years, are we going to look at like whatever this version of DCU becomes and goes, yeah, pretty good, but man, I'm glad I got that 4K of Superman 78. I'm going to chuck that on instead because that fucking slaps. And like, am I going to be reaching for the 4K of Superman 2025 in 10 years? I don't know. Time will tell. But
I must tell you here. I'm sorry. I've just gone onto IMDb to look up the Supergirl movie, which does come out next year. You're right. It follows Kara Zor-El's story and her darker origin before she finally made her way to Earth. So it sounds like it might be a prequel, right? I didn't know that. But what I now do know, not only did Craig Giuseppe directing it, and he directed I, Tonya and The Finest Hours and The Fright Night remake,
and Lars and the Real Girl, which is just phenomenal.
Which is a great film. Motherfucking David Krumholtz is in it.
Yeah, he plays her dad.
No.
Yes. You don't like Krumholtz?
No, I don't think he looks anything like what I expected Zor-El to be. And he doesn't look like Bradley Cooper's brother.
I don't know. Give him
That's
like
very,
the outfit.
very true. Yes, he does not look
Right?
like that.
I don't know.
You've
Like
melted.
there's plenty of people that you look at them side by side, and you're like, huh, Like, really?
Well, me and Cable
you're
are
his
brothers.
brother?
So.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Actually, that looks pretty accurate, to be honest. Yeah,
I look at my wife has got a lot of brothers and sisters, and I look at them and I'm like, I don't know how you guys are in the same family. Like that's just absurd.
Adopted.
So I think Krumholtz is going to bring a lot of humor, but also heart. I think that's what he nails as an actor, is being funny, but also just like, you just made me feel better. Like, look at everything he does in Oppenheimer. You know,
Love
he's
Krumholtz.
just
Yeah, the whole Oppenheimer performance is what I was thinking of. Yeah.
fucking phenomenal. So I think
I was
it's gonna be
thinking
great.
of the Santa Claus, but anyway.
Yeah, absolutely.
The
And 10
Bernard
things I hate
is
about
like
you.
the only elf that is like,
Yeah.
I feel better when you're around Bernard.
Yeah.
Look, we could talk for another 15 years about Superman and everything it is, but I think overall this movie is a success, and I'm really happy it is. I am gonna go and see it again at the cinemas, and hopefully the second time around, like, I shake off some of that dust I felt about the Pocket Universe. Maybe I'll be able to just go along for the ride. You've certainly reframed my thinking with talking about everything that this movie is doing and representing, and I'm pretty excited for what the future of the James Gunn DC universe is going to bring us in the next year and the coming years after that. I don't think there's anything to add. I think we have ripped this movie into tiny pieces in the best possible way, and I'm just glad it exists. I'm glad that we have moved into this era of Superman and comic book movies in general, and I can't wait to see more. Regan and Corrine, thank you for jumping on board and
Pleasure.
bringing
It was nice to
some
meet you, Corinne.
really good
Nice to meet
fresh
you.
insight to this movie
Cara.
that I certainly never would have had. And Cable, this is fun. I'm glad we did this. I still don't know if this should be on our show. I still don't know if this is a sequel or a reboot or a remake.
It doesn't matter. We've made
Doesn't matter.
we
if
make
shoulda,
the
shoulda, did,
rules.
is.
We do,
So-
we do. But look, it's gonna bug me. I'll be honest. When I'm in bed tonight, I'll be like,
Just like a movie title gone wrong, you're just gonna get upset about it. Just
I will.
Just
This is going to
That's-
bother you when you're lying in bed at night.
Just
Have a wank. Have a wank and just get over it, dude.
yeah.
You're in bed already.
All right, so you went a different direction. I was just going to say, take a leaf out of Corinne's book and just pretend you're going to the cinemas and just let it all go and forget about what's happening in the outside, but just enjoy it for what it is.
Sure, you
So what
can
you're
do
both,
that, or you
what both
could
of you are
have a wank.
suggesting, you're both suggesting I should just let it all go, just in different ways.
Let it go. Let
Treat
it
it like it owes you money. Just,
Well, on that, just
I think
remember, not all wanks suck. We'll see you next time.
Oh my god.
Hey, Sequel Suck fans.
By definition alone, there are fewer films.
I almost sequel freak and remake a quick warning of this episode is on Twitter and over